Lightning in a Bottle is an incredible music festival. That being said, there's a right way to do Lightning in a Bottle and a wrong way to do Lightning in a Bottle. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 7 things I wish I knew before going to the Lightning in a Bottle music festival.
Oh, hi, Mark.
What's up, Freccero fam? Welcome back to my channel. We'd like to experience everything that life has to offer. I gotta be honest, Lightning in a Bottle, like I said in the intro, is an incredible music festival. And like going to any event, any festival, anything of that sort, there's a lot of things that you should know, especially if you're going for the first time. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you a lot of advice about the Lightning in a Bottle Music Festival in terms of what to expect, the stages, the layouts, the environment, and so much more. Before I get into these 7 things I wish I knew before going to the festival, one kind of pre-tip I want to give, one pre-beginning tip right away is 3 versus 5. If you go to buy a ticket, you're going to notice you can either get the 3-day pass or the 5-day pass. For me personally, I'm not gonna lie, I prefer 5 days. Now I know, for some people, work may be kind of tricky, let's say traveling, if let's say you're not in Southern California, that can add a whole other can of worms as well. But I gotta be honest, I do like the idea of getting there on Wednesday, finding a really good camping site and camping spot, and I will talk about lodging in a second, but I like the fact of getting there early. In case you didn't know, the 5-day pass is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And as you can imagine, the 3-day pass is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And one thing I noticed is I felt like on Wednesday and Thursday, especially when I went for my first time, it was a good way for me to kind of get my bearings, walk around. Things weren't super chaotic, at least not yet. So I was able to kind of fully explore the entire environment, the campsite, the stages, and kind of get my overall bearings of the best layouts, the best walking paths, directions, all that kind of stuff. In addition, another thing that I noticed is on Wednesday and Thursday, I found the crowd was the best. I really did love the vibes and kind of the low-key energy of Wednesday and Thursday where I got to meet a ton of great people. Everybody was in a good mood. Don't get me wrong though, 5 days for a camping festival is definitely a lot, although I will say things are a lot more low-key, like I said on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, things are almost non-stop for those next 3 days. Wednesday and Thursday is low-key, but don't get me wrong. A 5-day camping festival can be a lot, but with Lightning in a Bottle, it is 100% worth it. With that being said, let's get into the 7 things I wish I knew before going to the festival. Kicking it off with lodging. Now, one thing I do want to say is that a lot of this advice in this video will be about Lightning in a Bottle, of course. But a lot of it as well does teeter on just general music festival experience, knowledge, and advice. When it comes to lodging, this is one of these classic questions when it comes to a festival like this is, do you want to camp or stay in a hotel or Airbnb? 100% camping. Anybody who's ever done a music festival, and especially Lightning in a Bottle, knows that the best experience you're going to have is camping. Now, every festival is a little different when it comes to the amenities regarding camping. When it comes to Lightning in a Bottle, I'd say they're fairly minimal, or I might even say typical when it comes to a music festival camping experience. 1, there are showers, but you do have to pay for them. Keep that in mind. 2, you can buy certain items, I'd say like ice and that kind of stuff, but for the most part, you are on your own. You drive your car there, or let's say with friends or whatever, you get out and it's just a plot of land, that's it. I will also say, as a huge pro tip, which I'll talk about a lot throughout this video, is there are water stations that are completely free all around the campsite and all around the festival as well. If let's say you want to refill your Camelback or your water bottle or whatever. So those do exist in the campsite, and there are porta potties in the campsite area as well. But besides that, things are fairly minimal, and it is your typical camping experience. And I gotta say though, you're gonna have the best time when it comes to the festival camping. That's when you can be meeting so many different types of people in the campsite, hanging out, like say between sets, especially like say when the festival ends. Everybody goes to the campgrounds. There's gonna be tons of after parties and events going on after hours. I will say, again, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons when it comes to camping, as you can imagine, versus lodging. One thing I will say as a con is be prepared. Things can go pretty much all night. And then once things kind of wind down, someone wakes up at 8 a.m., starts blasting music. The festival experience when it comes to camping that you're gonna be living on a few hours of sleep. In addition, Lightning in a Bottle is typically pretty hot. So that heat and that sun will be waking you up earlier than you like. But I gotta say, that all being said, camping is an incredible experience and the best way to enjoy the festival. I think that the closest hotel is about a 20-minute drive or a 20-minute Uber. Now, they do have Ubers there, but they are very limited. You are in a bit of a remote area, so getting around in transportation can be a little bit tricky. Another thing, as you can imagine, which is very convenient about camping, is the fact that all your stuff is right there. Next, if you go into the festival, you see a couple sets that you really like, you can then come back to the campsite, maybe grab another drink, grab food, grab water, grab more stuff, and then go back in. Number 2, the Buena Vista Lake. So at Lightning in a Bottle, there is a notorious lake that's very iconic when it comes to the festival. And there are a couple things that you do have to know. This is gonna be pretty quick and pretty brief, but I did want to mention it because it is very specific to Lightning in a Bottle. First off, if you had to ask me, what is the one thing I wish I knew or wish I did before going for my first time to Lightning in a Bottle, it would be to bring a floaty. I did see a lot on Reddit of people saying like, oh, you gotta bring a floaty, you gotta bring one of those rafts, and I was like, yeah, I'll be fine, and I regretted it. Now, luckily, I did meet a lot of people who would like say, let me borrow their raft or their floaty, or let me get on theirs. I will say, as a side note, people at Lightning in a Bottle are amazing. The festival crowd is awesome. Gotta say, one of my favorite festival crowds I've ever experienced at any festival. So I want to say that as a good, positive side note. And in addition, the lake is right next to one of the main stages, the Junkyard. So let's say it's a great artist that you want to see, as opposed to, like, say, being out there in the crowd, you could get on a floaty or on a raft, have a drink with you, just be floating around whilst you're watching the set at the same time. The lake is awesome. Gotta be honest. Definitely bring a raft or floaty. The second thing I want to mention about the lake is the quality of the water. I did hear from some people that the quality is not the best. And I even had some people being like, I don't even want to get in the water. It seems a bit questionable or whatever. Being honest, I didn't really get sick. I didn't really know anybody else that did. But one thing I will suggest, and I know this is a bit Captain Obvious, but I do want to mention it, is not to swallow the water when you're in the lake. If you get a little bit in your mouth, not a big deal. But just want to say that as a quick side note, just in case. Number 3, the stages. Now, one thing I want to say when it comes to the stage layouts at Lightning in the Bottle, it is pretty easy to get around, 1. And 2, the walk isn't too bad. I find the longest walk, if you're going to do it, is going to be from the Lightning stage to the Woogie stage. And it might take you, I'd say, about 15-ish minutes, if I had to guess, maybe even closer to 10. So walking around really isn't too bad. I've been to some festivals where going from one stage to another can be a trek. Not really the case at Lightning in a Bottle. Now, Lightning in a Bottle mainly has 5 stages: Lightning, Thunder, the Junkyard, the Stacks, and Woogie. In terms of the stages, the Lightning stage and the Thunder stage are typically the biggest stages, with the Lightning stage being for the main headlining acts. When it comes to the Junkyard, Stacks, and Woogie, I find the Junkyard is more for vibey house techno, more upbeat, vibey music. Stacks, I find, is more bass-heavy music. And then the Woogie stage, I find, is kind of like a random assortment of artists. Number 4, the environment. First off, like I said earlier, it is probably going to be hot. That is something to prepare for. Even at night, I'd say it could get a little nippy or a little chilly, but for the most part, it is going to be hot. So, of course, take your precautions of the fact that you're dancing and walk around. Make sure you're drinking a lot of water. Make sure you're having a lot of electrolytes. And especially, like, say, if you are drinking or consuming other drugs or whatever, you want to make sure that you're properly hydrated. This is a big thing. I also suggest having sunscreen. This is what I looked like at Lightning in a Bottle my first time. I did not wear sunscreen, and especially being out on that lake, was not paying attention, and I got destroyed. So, of course, make sure you're hydrated. You're putting on proper sunscreen as you are pretty much out in the open when it comes to the sun. Just be prepared for it to be super hot. Another thing I want to mention, which is kind of like music festivals 101, is cell phone service. So there is cell phone service there. It is pretty good. There is an asterisk on that, though. I'll talk about in a second. In addition, there is Wi-Fi. So I know some people said, you know what, I have work, but I'm going to go for the 5 days anyway. Maybe I can work from home or work from the festival on Wednesday and Thursday by buying the Wi-Fi there. And then on Friday, I take that day off, etc., etc. So they do have Wi-Fi there, and the cell phone service is pretty good. With the cell phone service, though, talking now about that asterisk, and this is kind of like music festivals 101, is keep in mind, your cell phone will pretty much not work when the festival is at its peak. On Friday and Saturday and Sunday especially, your cell phone will pretty much not work. When you have that many people in that small, tight of an area, this is something to keep in mind. If, let's say, you've never gone to a music festival, there are different techniques. Some people have meeting spots. If, let's say, you lose everybody. Some people I know even tie like ropes around each other, so you almost have like a rope string to connect everybody so you don't lose anybody, because this happens all the time. You go to a festival, you're with your friends, you stop to like check your watch or check your phone, you look up, they're gone, and you're like, you know what? I can't text them. My texts are not going to go through. My calls are not going to go through. Guess I'm on my own now. Number 5, the extras. Now, when it comes to Lightning in a Bottle, as with most music festivals, you, of course, have the music stages and really good music. That being said, though, there are a lot of great extras as well in addition to just music. One, they do have a lot of workshops, and these are great. And I found there was two different types of workshops. One is more fitness focused, so they did like morning yoga, that kind of stuff. The other type was more information based, where it'd be like a monologue style format of someone teaching you something, whether it's about food, nutrition, health, philosophy, business, basically everything you could possibly think of. And these are great to attend because let's say you have some downtime, not a lot's going on, you can easily walk around, maybe do some yoga, learn something new, and so much more. In addition, and this is just another great part about music festivals, and especially with Lightning in a Bottle, walking around, you're gonna see all these amazing art installations, unique little attractions. There's also all these other like mini huts and I'm gonna call them even like mini stages. There are just so many hidden unique gems when it comes to Lightning in a Bottle, when it comes to the art installations, these mini stages like I mentioned, even other weird quirky things that you definitely gotta check out. So one big thing I do suggest for a lot of people when it comes to Lib is, of course, get your bearings when it comes to the stage layouts and of course the stages, have your lineup ready, but also kind of block in maybe like an hour or two just to walk around and check out all these different things that are set up that are super intriguing and fascinating. Number 6, food and drinks. This one, I'm gonna be honest, is a bit unfortunate. Now, first off, as a huge pro tip, in case you didn't know, when you get your wristband, you can connect it to your phone and make it your own payment method. So rather you walking around with your credit card or cash, whatever, you can just connect your wristband to your phone with a payment method, and when you go to pay for, let's say, food or drinks at the festival, you just tap it. Pretty seamless. However, one thing I do have to say regarding drinks is typically they do check your ID and you get a wristband every single day. Every day you need a new wristband saying you're over 21 if you do want to consume alcohol. And it is kind of annoying, being honest, that even if let's say you do have a 21 and up wristband from the day before, they still want to see your ID anyway, so keep that in mind. When it comes to food and drinks, being honest, they are expensive. When it comes to food, you're probably looking at least like $15, maybe $20 for a pretty small portion. And this is why I suggest heavily to bring your own food. Like I bring Huel, which is basically powdered food. Baby food is another great one. Bring items to make sandwiches, bring trail mix, basically bring a ton of food. Another thing, as you can imagine, when it comes to the drinks, is it's also very expensive. Now, I know a lot of people want to know, how much does it cost? And of course, it does vary year to year. I'd say for a beer, be prepared to spend around $10 to $12 for a beer, not including tip. When it comes to a mixed drink, I'd say expect to spend between $16 to $18. And in addition, they do have pre-made mixed drinks. Like right now, for whatever reason, the big thing that's in, at least the exact time of this video, is beatboxes. These are everywhere when it comes to every single EDM music festival. I don't know how, but beatboxes have kind of cornered the market of pre-made mixed drinks when it comes to music festivals, especially in the electronic music world. And I remember doing the math out, and these are the best bang for your buck. But I also got to be honest, they're kind of like a hangover in a box or a bottle. I mean, they're definitely the best bang for your buck to get the most amount of alcohol for the price. But there's a ton of sugar. The hangovers are brutal. But I will talk about reducing hangovers a bit later in this video. That being said, though, just in general, when it comes to food and drinks, be prepared that it is going to cost a lot. Remember that one, though, you can bring your own food in the campsite, so you can have as much food as you want before you get into the festival. And two, you can also bring your own alcohol, which, as you can imagine, with alcohol prices, I suggest you do so. Number 7, necessities. Now, these I'm going to do kind of rapid fire, where I'm going to talk about all the things that I really wish I knew that I should be bringing, not only to Lightning in a Bottle, but music festivals in general. Some of these might apply to you more than others, but this huge list, I will say, I have listed below in the description. And like I said, I'm going to be mentioning these in kind of a rapid fire style. Kicking off, hand sanitizer, as you can imagine when you're camping, super helpful. Next are zip-up pants or shorts. These are awesome as the pockets have zippers on them. And this is great. One, let's say if you're dancing around, your stuff's in your pocket, the last thing you want to do is have it come out. Now, I will say as a side note, and I do have to bring this up, I find that safety at Lightning in a Bottle is excellent. I find that most people are typically very safe. Pickpocketing is very uncommon, I will say, at Lightning in a Bottle, as opposed to, like, say, EDC Las Vegas. Pickpocketing is extremely common. If anything, hate to say it, it's weird for you to get pickpocketed at Lightning in a Bottle, but it's also weird for you not to get pickpocketed at EDC. Just to give a brief comparison, because I know right now pickpocketing and theft at music festivals is at an all-time high. And I hate to say it is getting worse. So you do want to be safe. Trust me. With that all being said, as great as Lightning Bottle is and as great as the crowd is, you do want to be safe. So one, I like the fact that with these pants, if like I'm dancing around, I don't have to worry about anything kind of falling out. But two, the fact that there's a zipper on it helps reduce theft. Continuing on with theft is locks. These are excellent to have. One, like say a tent lock to make sure that your tent is completely locked up at the campsite when you leave it. Another thing is a phone lock. So I have this kind of special device that locks my phone that attaches to my shorts with the zipper on it. And that way, like say if I'm bouncing around, one, I don't have to worry about like say like dropping my phone and missing it, or like say it coming out. But two, if someone like say goes to grab it or tries to pickpocket my phone is directly connected to me. Next is a mini basket. This is great if like say you do want to go to the showers and pay for them and take a shower. You have like a mini basket with all your amenities that you need to freshen up. Next is a hat. Of course, when it comes to being outside in the hot sun, these are great when it comes to reducing sunlight. And also look at hats that are UV protective just for added protection when it comes to the sunlight. Next, a camping chair. These are huge. I'm telling you, there's something about having a nice chair after, like, say, a long day or a long night, just sit down and relax when you're hanging out with your friends. I also find these are a bit of a coveted commodity when you're at a campsite with a lot of people because there's usually few chairs and a lot of people. Next is flashlight or a headlight. During the nighttime at the campsite, it is going to be very, very dark. There's not a lot of lights around the campsite, being honest. So keep in mind, it's going to be a bit dim. And yeah, you do have your cell phone and you can use your phone light, but your phone is not going to be even anywhere close to a flashlight or a headlight. Coffee. This is a big one. I will say they do sell coffee at the festival, but one, it's super overpriced, and two, as you can imagine, you have to go to the festival in order to buy it. There's something nice about waking up having coffee right there. For me, I usually bring about 5 or 6 cans of coffee. That way I can wake up, have coffee right when I wake up, and I'm good to go. An eye mask. This is a big one for me. I cannot sleep without an eye mask, not even just at Lightning in a Bottle or a music festival, but in general. These are great, as you can imagine, for reducing the sun in your eyes. And especially when sleep is very hard to get at a music festival, you want to get the best quality sleep you can, and an eye mask is perfect for that. Next are earplugs. These are incredibly important, and I'm going to talk about 2 different types actually that you need to bring. One is I'm going to call them concert earplugs. So right now, eargasms are kind of the standard when it comes to concert earplugs. What these do, as you can imagine, is protect your ears from the crazy loud speakers that exist at the festival. The good thing as well about concert earplugs is they reduce the loudness of the sound without diminishing the quality. So you can still hear what's going on, of course, but not hurt your ears while doing so. The other type of earplugs I highly suggest 100% are sleep earplugs. These are for the night, like say when things wind down. And these are almost, I'm going to say, a different type of earplug where the goal is to just block out all sound. So in my opinion, Macs are kind of the standard when it comes to sleep earplugs. So you can pass out and go to bed and wake up being ready for the next day. Next is a Camelback. These are, I feel like, the biggest staple of music festivals. As you probably know, it's a backpack with a water container inside of it. And like I said, there are water refill stations all around the campsite and the festival itself. And Camelbacks are perfect to always have water on you. Next is sunscreen. Pretty self-explanatory. Like I said earlier, when it comes to the lake and the intense sun, just have sunscreen. Next is water. Yes, they do have the water refill stations, but it's never a bad idea to bring extra water. For me personally, I bring 1 gallon of water per day. This is in addition to, like, say, the water that I'm using from the water refill stations when I'm out. I always like to have extra water. It never hurts, especially with the heat and the sun. Next is electrolytes. These I find go hand in hand with water. So for me, I love Body Armor. I'll usually bring 2 Body Armor bottles per day, so 10 in total, just to have to get extra electrolytes in. In addition, you can also maybe grab like Dune tablets or these electrolyte tablets that you kind of drop in your Camelback. And that way when you walk around, not only are you getting water, but also the electrolytes as well. These are super important when you're walking around, you're gonna be dancing, you're gonna be moving, you're gonna be in the hot sun. It's a lot, and water, of course, is very important, but you also want to get the electrolytes. Next is sunglasses, pretty self-explanatory when it comes to being in the sun. A big one, I gotta say, is the phone charger, because as you can imagine, you're gonna be out and about, you don't want your phone to die. And another thing I will say is your phone, especially, let's say when the service is very spotty, because there's so many people at once in a given area, like I said earlier, your phone's gonna die even quicker. And then when you add in the fact that you might be, like, say, filming videos, taking pictures, using your phone a lot, your phone's gonna die way faster than you think. And always have a phone charger ready to go, because in addition, there's not really any electrical outlets at the campsite. And so I always suggest at least have a portable phone charger, or for me, I actually bring portable phone chargers. That way I always have enough juice to last the festival. Next, which is a huge staple, are baby wipes and baby powder. Just trust me, these are like festival staples when it comes to camping festivals. And there's a big reason why. For cleaning up, if, let's say, and I'll be honest, like, so you have chafing from, like, say, walking around a lot, baby powder is excellent for that as well. Telling you, baby wipes and baby powder are a precious commodity. Next is toilet paper. So I will say when it comes to the porta potties, they are pretty clean at lightning in a bottle. I've done some festivals that were not the best. Lightning in a bottle, I have to give them credit, are pretty good about cleaning the porta potties out every day, I'd say. But keep in mind, there are a lot of times, let's say they run out of toilet paper and you have to get creative or figure something out. So definitely bring toilet paper. Next, which is a big one, is a full tank of gas. This is a massive one for any camping festival, lightning in a bottle included, for a couple different reasons. One, if let's say you're going for 5 days, let's say you're using your car to charge your phone, or let's say you're turning it on because you want to sit and have AC, whatever the case is, you want to make sure you have a full tank of gas. Another thing is when it comes to entering the festival and also leaving, sometimes that car line can be a couple hours long. And let's say you've been using your car and it's been turned on, let's say all festival, and let's say you go to leave and it's a 2 to 3 hour wait time just to leave the festival, not the position you want to be in if let's say you're running low on gas. Always have a full tank of gas before entering the festival. And last, but definitely not least, goodies to give out. This is one I do want to mention because I think one of the best parts about music festivals, especially with lightning in a bottle included, is they gotta give out goodies. So a lot of people make candy, for example. Another big thing right now, at least at the time of this video, is being sprouted. So people will give out sprouts. Some people also give out necklaces or wristbands and so much more. And this is a fun thing to do because I know some people who spend hours making all these goodies just to give out, just to make the festival a better experience. And now a bonus thing of something I wish I knew before going to Lightning in a Bottle Festival is supplements. These I bring just because if I'm going 5 days straight off very little sleep, I'm in the hot sun, all this kind of stuff, I'm dancing, I'm constantly moving, making sure that my body is ready to go and at its peak the entire time is ultra important. And these are the supplements that I personally bring just to make my festival experience a lot better. First off is Huel or protein powder. So in case you didn't know, Huel is basically powdered food. Huel is great because as you can imagine, it is very difficult to get a lot of nutrients in during the festival with the chaos that is lightning in a bottle. And in addition, like say bringing food, you kind of need ice. You might need to heat it up. As you can imagine, food in general and getting the right amount of nutrients is a bit tricky. And Huel is great for that. Another thing that goes hand in hand with Huel is protein powder. And I know sometimes people associate protein powder with like bodybuilding, whatever, but protein is very good for you. Very, very important, especially when you're burning a lot of calories. I always make sure to bring a ton of Huel and protein at the festival. Next is B vitamins. These help give you energy and replenish a lot of what, let's say, you might lose when it comes to the festival itself. Another big one I'd suggest is having a multi-B vitamin, especially with vitamin B1 or thiamine. The main reason why is vitamin B1 or thiamine gets depleted when you consume alcohol. So this helps reduce your hangover a little bit by replenishing what you just lost. Next is magnesium. Magnesium is super important. Most people are magnesium deficient anyway, so that you want to have this just in general, not just in terms of the festival itself. But magnesium is great, especially when you pair that with drinking or all these other activities you're going to be doing. Next is DHM. This stuff is magic. DHM, honestly, I've tried a lot of anti-hangover cures regarding alcohol. DHM, by far the best. This one supplement by Doublewood, I take, I'd say, 1 pill for every 2 to 3 drinks. So like if I go out and I have 9 drinks, like say in a night, I come back and take 3 to 4 pills. I'd say you want to take more than you think, and I'm telling you, this stuff is amazing. Not only does this have DHM, but also has electrolytes, so I also kind of like that too, to get a little more in it to replenish what I've lost. I usually bring multiple bottles of DHM, that way I can kind of give it out in case anyone needs it, and I'm telling you, this stuff, especially let's say if you're going pretty hard for a few days or 5 days, is imperative. Next, 5-HTP. This is a bit of a festival staple regarding supplements, especially like say if you are taking any illicit drugs like psychedelics or like say amphetamines or whatever. And 5-HTP has been shown to reduce the neurotoxicity of these substances. And last, but definitely not least, sleep gummies. This one supplement, these ZQuil gummies, are my favorite. I've taken a lot of them. This is the only one that I really kind of swear by, that I find it helps me go to bed and rest peacefully and get a good night's sleep without making me groggy the next day, which is awesome. And I love these for festivals because let's say I get back to the campsite, let's say I've had a lot of coffee or I'm wired, and let's say my adrenaline is pumping and I just had a crazy day and a crazy night. Sometimes it is a bit hard to, like say, go to sleep and get a good night's sleep as well, especially like say when you're camping for multiple days in a row. And these are great to take to get a really good night's sleep, to go to bed, get a good night's sleep, you wake up fully rested and you're ready to go for another day.